It's Edge Match. You're at Edge Match. Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. You're at Edge Match. Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match. Don't miss Edge Match.
Hello, EduMatch fam. So excited to see you all tonight. We have a very special guest. So today we have Rudy and Sofia here from Edifying Teachers. I'm totally blown away by their work, and I cannot wait for them to share more with you. So welcome to both of you. Thank you all so much for being here tonight.
Truly our pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. So if y'all could just tell us, like, what's your background and who or what inspired you to go into education?
Sounds great. So Sophia here is still a rock star in the classroom. I'll let her go first.
Thank you, sir. Sure. So I'm a 13-year veteran. I'm a high school English teacher. I teach high school AP English in my home district in the Chicagoland area. I do some college teaching on the side, and I'm in numerous fellowships that really focus on EDU equity and really creating space for those who have been put on the margins and really elevating those voices. I am just obviously ecstatic to still be in the field of education after all of these years, because it is definitely something that can change the course of someone's life. You know, Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. And indeed, that is my weapon. So I'm just really excited to be here tonight. I'm excited to champion for both teachers and students at a local and at a national level. And let's get this party started.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for being here, Sophia. Super excited to have you here. And Rudy, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So Sophia's in the Chicagoland area. I grew up about an hour and a half north of there in the inner city of Milwaukee in a low-income household. And I had the opportunity to become a first-gen college grad from Stanford University. And shortly after that, moved back home to Milwaukee and had the chance to teach in what would have been my neighborhood public high school, and just really fell in love with being able to give back to my community and to teach students from literally the neighborhood I grew up in. And so the first 8 years of my 20 plus years in education was as a high school math and computer science teacher. And over time, I was recruited into school leadership and then district leadership positions. So for the last 8 years, I've been out here in your neck of the woods, a little north of where you're at here in the capital region in Maryland. And the last few years, I've had the chance to really work around the country and help mobilize folks in communities. And have really this year been leaning into the notion that there should be nothing for us without us. So that's why, since we're going to be talking about edifying teachers, we don't want to be creating something for teachers without teachers at the center of it, which is why I'm so excited to be working with, some great leaders like Sophia here.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. And I know that we had a chat a couple weeks ago, and you told me about some of the amazing work you're doing. So if you could also share with our audience, tell us more about what you all do at Edifying Teachers.
Absolutely. So Sophia is our mentor director, and that's a really central part of what we're doing. What we're trying to do is address some of the critical challenges that are now really in national prominence in terms of the fact that our teachers of color are really underrepresented, number one, but also that we are losing them at higher rates as well. And so we know is at the center of that is that our teachers, and in particular our teachers of color, do not have the type of supports that they need. And we know that we could do a much better job of making sure that the environments that we're welcoming them into are more welcoming and more empowering, and that they have the support and are valued as a way that they should. So we are coming up with some really exciting ways of making that happen, and excited to tell you more about that this evening.
Sure. And just to piggyback off of that, it's been really neat to be afforded a lot of opportunities. So also on the side for me, I do some work with the Illinois State Board of Education. I'm actually a virtual coach for first and second year teachers, specifically focusing on teachers of color that are coming into the career path. And so just really being motivated by what ISB has shown me in terms of how to mentor these new teachers. I'm kind of taking that, leveraging that with Edifying Teachers, and really pouring into the framework of what we want Edifying Teachers to be and what we know that it can grow into. As a teacher of color, as a woman of color, I can truly relate to just the support that is needed, and just the resources that are needed that are specific to teachers of color, in an effort to not only, woo them in, right, but also to retain them, right? And so we're just excited. We're just excited. I mean, if you look at the statistics, a large percentage of our student body nationwide are kids of color, and yet teachers of color, as Rudy was mentioning, are so vastly underrepresented. And studies show and support that if you see a teacher in front of you that looks like you, that can resonate with your culture, that can speak your language, that can understand where you're coming from, and there's something powerful about that. And we're just here just to kind of bridge those gaps and to really create this opportunity for teachers of color, not only to stay in the classroom, but to thrive in the classroom, because our students, our most important stakeholders, they depend on us. And we want to get as many people in front of them that they can relate to. It's just such an important piece of our work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as I'm hearing y'all talking, I'm reflecting back on my early days as an educator and how I could have really used a community like what you all are building right now. So just thrilled about your work. So what is your unique approach to supporting teachers of color?
So what we've been building over the last 3 months, as some of your network may be noticing, in particular through the Twitter community and the LinkedIn community, is that we are generating and growing this community of experienced teachers of color, folks who, like Sofia, have had the opportunity to be mentors, to be coaches, but maybe haven't been, tapped and deployed to the degree that they could. And so what we're realizing is the fact that all of us across the board are sharing the fact that we didn't get enough support, especially as first year teachers, and oftentimes after the first year, it's like, well, you made it through, you survived. So if you need any help, let us know. But we're gonna assume that you're gonna keep on, surviving. But we don't want folks to just survive. We want them to thrive. And so what we're doing is developing this national network of mentors of color. Sofia, our senior advisor, Dr. Richard Warren Jr., are creating basically a mentor program design that is going to help make sure that we have high quality mentorship that we can provide to new and aspiring educators from around the country, so that we can provide folks with support on different levels. So if, like myself, they were a high school math teacher, let's say, at the end of the day, if they're saying, hey, I had trouble teaching linear equations today, hey, we've got somebody who can help you, somebody who can help meet your needs in this moment and give you the support and encouragement that you need, but also give you the resources that you need, whether it be instructional, pedagogical, or otherwise. And so we're really excited about being able to put together this resource that is such a critical need right now, and really doesn't seem to exist.
And just to piggyback off of that too, we're really working on a framework that is just as diverse as the teachers that we want to mentor. So this idea of diversifying the text, disrupting the text, in engaging in things like culturally responsive pedagogy to really reflect just the diverse needs of our students across the nation, right? So really creating not just an opportunity for teachers of color to thrive and to engage in their classroom with their students, but also what does the curriculum reflect? And also these frameworks that we feel are really important, like anti-racism, and really looking at these biases that are in the classroom, and what is a microaggression, and just different dynamics like that for both teachers and students to circumnavigate, we feel is especially important. And so these are some things that we're really looking to build and that we're really looking to hopefully, create this system for incoming teachers of color, to not only have them be empowered, right? And for them to be seen, because it's one thing to be, teaching in silo, but it's a totally different dynamic to be in community and to be among people that are like-minded. Man, it's empowering. And we want our teachers of color to stay excited, to stay in the classroom, to empower their students. But how are we going to do that, right? By putting those tools and those resources that they might not otherwise see in a typical PD, right? And so those are some of the things that we really want to focus on. And Rudy has done a stellar job. Let me tell you something. He has put together a dream team, okay? He has been very persistent about putting together this incredible opportunity for incoming teachers. And we are just so excited to be part of the team. So Rudy is he's our fearless leader, and he is not stopping anytime soon, let me tell you. And it's just exciting to be part of this vivacious team that really wants to empower teachers of color across the state.
Absolutely. Such important work. And I love that you are addressing it from two angles. You're looking at the incoming teachers as well as the mentors. So how do you take an asset-based approach to center the expertise of mentors of color?
What we're seeing with current mentoring structures, it's been about a decade that most states, I think it's about 3 dozen states, have essentially, unfunded mandates saying you must provide mentorship or coaching to new teachers. Um, but oftentimes teachers are having to make that difficult decision around, can I really make time to go connect with my assigned mentor? And what we're hearing and talking with folks from around the country is, you know, that sometimes they're saying, I can't make time because Rudy's a nice guy, but he was a high school math teacher. I'm a middle school science teacher. He can't give me the support I need on that front. Or maybe it is a fellow high school math teacher and they're saying, I actually don't need support on the instructional side. I need more support on the classroom management side or maybe instructional technology. And also given, the moment that we're in, for myself, it's been a number of years since I was in the classroom. That's why to me it's so important to build this network of people who have taught through the pandemic, who have gone through these current struggles and can relate and basically not have to put all the onus on just one mentor or one coach. And so we're kind of sharing that support and developing teams of support for teachers.
Okay, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. I love that teamwork aspect and all of the support that comes with it. Absolutely. So that's fantastic. So there's one thing that we were talking about, and I'm super excited to learn more about this. In what ways do you leverage technology to address the underrepresentation of teachers of color?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of great things in the works on that front. We're in the process right now of building what initially will be a web-based platform, but definitely will have an impact on the mobile front. My dissertation is around leveraging mobile technology to enhance support for new teachers. And so we're basically bringing that to life through Edifying Teachers. And so we've got, some opportunities that we are waiting to hear good news on in terms of being able to accelerate that work. But essentially what we're trying to do is to build that personalized learning platform for teachers, because we talk about personalized learning for students a lot, but we unfortunately have been not thinking enough about that when it comes to teachers. And so again, like I mentioned, on any given day, you might have a different need, right? And instead of having everybody have to, scour the internet for the right resource or come out of pocket to pay for that, we already know that teachers aren't getting the salaries and the compensation that they deserve to come out of pocket. So we're trying to provide that resource to them in a way that they wouldn't have to pay for it themselves.
And like just to chime in there too, just really cutting right to the chase and really creating this toolbox, this digital toolbox for them, in which, again, right, they don't have to scour, and just really looking at specific frameworks and really just pouring into that toolbox so that they can just grab and go. Because as a resident teacher right now, no one has time. Right. And so we don't want to make this a difficult process for our mentees. We want them to be able to access the information, access the best practices so that they can begin to incorporate it right away in their classroom with the support of their mentor. And that's really important, right? We don't want to be another platform where it's going to be complex and convoluted. We want it to be streamlined. We want it to be organic, and we want it to be something that our teachers will want to go to access some of these tools that we really want to get in their hands and we really want them to use for the betterment of their classroom.
I love that. And I love like how accessible everything is, and not just accessible when it comes to money, which is huge because I remember that those first couple of years and the salary scale, the way it's set up, you really can't come out of pocket very much, but just not only that, but also the accessibility that kind of takes a lot of the weight off of people's shoulders, they can just
Yes,
grab things and go. So absolutely love
absolutely.
that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So what are your future plans for edifying teachers, and how are you scaling?
Yeah, so there's a few ways that we've been doing that. Largely, it's through partnerships, though, and so there's a lot of great work, different grassroots groups from around the country that have been doing this work, and oftentimes for a long period of time. The Center for Black Educator Development, as an example, out of Philly, the Uplift Movement in Minneapolis, and we can go down the list. We've got a couple dozen regional affinity group partners, but also some national partnerships. There's currently a national coalition to recruit and retain 1 million teachers of color by 2030. So we're very closely connected with those groups, and our intention is to be a unifier and a connector, and to provide a resource that will support all those groups, but also leverage the assets that they bring. And so even just using that example of the Uplift Movement in Minneapolis, they've got 72 experienced Black educators from their community that also could be a resource to the folks from, our area, or down where Sophia's at, or in other places. So we want to be able to share that wealth of knowledge that our community of color brings to bear, and really celebrate that and use that as a way to uplift everyone.
And I'm sure that Rudy would jive with this, but this idea of edifying teachers wanting to create this family environment, right?
Absolutely.
Teachers of color really experience unique challenges, from microaggressions to implicit bias to being overlooked to being put in DEI committees, to be put in spaces and places where we're asked to translate with no compensation, where we're in a grade level where we're the only person of color and we're feeling out of place. Those are different dynamics that I have personally gone through. And I can think back and say, man, I could have really used someone in my corner, or some kind of entity in my corner that was there to empower me, to encourage me, to inspire me, and to let me know that where I was going with the vision and the mission of my classroom was in the right direction. And so it's so important. We want our teachers of color to know that they belong, right? To create the sense of belonging. We want them to know that they have a space and a place where they can be their authentic selves, where their identity will be celebrated and elevated, and where they know that even moving forward, they can always count on us for advice, mentorship, a listening ear, or just a safe space to share some of their struggles and, dare I say, traumas. A lot of teachers of color across state lines are engaging in a lot of trauma, and we don't have enough time to unpack that. But I personally want it to be my mission, looking over the mentorship programs, to really create that vibe, that energy where our mentors want to come and say, hey, listen, I know we had a chat and I know I went through your resources, but can I just talk to you? Like, can I just let you know how my day was and how I felt like I was overlooked for this promotion, or how I felt like I deserve this leadership spot and I didn't get it, and how it could have benefited my students? Can I just talk about how everybody has something to say, but when I say something, I'm created into this like weaponizing voice in the room? Those are some of the dynamics that we want to diffuse. And those are some of the things that we want to address, because again, with unique challenges, we need unique outcomes. And we at Edifying Teachers want to provide that. We want them to know that they are a family, that they belong, and that we are here to support them in whatever way that we can.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was so well said. Like the end of what you said, oh my gosh, there was one nugget and it just escaped me because my internet just went a little wonky. But I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the end of what you just said, because that was like a drop the mic moment. So really, really appreciate both of you being here tonight. And if you could tell us, how can people get in touch with you online?
Yeah, absolutely. We're easy to find on Twitter. It's a growing community. It's at Edify Teachers. On LinkedIn, we're easy to find as well on Edifying Teachers. And so definitely looking to continue to grow the community. We welcome folks throughout the pipeline. We have this vision that it's not just about, tapping into folks as they're going into the profession and then just trying to keep them. Again, we're thinking about the fact that we know in other communities, kids are encouraged to consider education from the elementary school, but that isn't often the case for our young people of color. And so we know that there are high school programs for students interested in education. We're connecting with them. We know that we don't want our folks to just be retained. We want them to thrive and grow and become mentors someday themselves as well. And so we have that holistic view of our community, and we can reach out to, either of us very easily. We're easy to find, and Rudy at edifyingteachers.com, Sofia at edifyingteachers.com. Feel free to shoot us a message if you'd like to reach out directly as well.
Fantastic. Well, I really want to thank both of you so much for coming tonight and chatting with the EduMatch fam. And thank you to everybody who's watching. This will also come out as a podcast episode, so it's going to drop in 2 Tuesdays from now. 2 Tuesdays from now. So definitely keep it locked. And, we definitely look forward to continuing to follow the progress of Edifying Teachers, and just wishing you all the best, and thanking you so much for everything that you do.
Thanks for all your support.
Thank you for giving us a voice, giving us a platform to share this narrative.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you all so much for being here and for the amazing work that you do. All right. So everybody who's watching, thanks again. We're going to go ahead and sign out. So have a great night, everybody.
It's Edge Match.